Hello, my name is Hallie, and welcome to this review where we will reveal a few of the neurobiological secrets behind learning and memory. In this review, we will discuss 3 topics, and they will help us understand how our neurological connections can actually change in response to stimuli. And by the end of this review, you'll not only have a better understanding of the key processes that occur behind neurobiology, but you'll also be able to attack questions which evaluate your understanding of the dynamics that lie behind neuronal connectivity. Historically, we have always thought of our brains and our neuronal system as being static organs, and research has shown that that's not exactly true. And we developed this term, neuronal plasticity. And this suffix, plasticity, refers to change, which is perfect. When we think of plastic, we usually think of a material that's bendable, that's flexible. It's able to change. And our neuronal system has this plasticity in response to stimuli. Stimuli can be positive things like changes in our environment or learning new information, but they can also be negative things like damage to our brain. And neuroplasticity has become a hot topic in research avenues that focus on traumatic brain injury, for example. Now, when we're born and in our early childhood, we have many neuronal connections in our brain. But as we experience our world and learn how to respond to the stimuli that we experience, we will change our neuronal connections to the point that our adult brain will actually have fewer connections. Now, I like to think of this as a quantity versus quality scenario, where our infant and adolescent brain adapts to our world and learns how to respond to stimulus, and by doing that, it creates fewer neuronal connections, but those connections are more efficient at responding to the stimulus that we are exposed to. And research has shown that our brains are more adaptive to change in our infancy and adolescence, but our adult brain is still able to make some neuronal changes. It's just not quite as good at it. And one example of research that helped to identify neuroplasticity's existence was that children who were prone to seizures had one hemisphere of their brain removed. But they were still able to have a relatively normal life. And that showed that their brains were able to adapt in a way so that they could have full functionality. So now that we've shown that our brains are capable of changing, let's analyze a couple of methods that are used to make our brains more efficient. And one is through synaptic pruning. And I love that they call it pruning. It's perfect imagery because I'm sure at some point in your life you have encountered someone who is passionate about gardening. And if you put that gardener in front of a rose bush, they would take away the smaller, weaker parts of the plant so that the organism would have a better opportunity to produce larger, healthier, more robust flowers. And the same is true of our neuronal system. Let's say our body recognized that this is a weak connection and we want to be a little bit more efficient, and instead of having our responses in 2 different places, let's combine them and make one good response. So we're going to turn this synaptic cleft off or remove this neuronal connection through synaptic pruning. And now we can have a better connection elsewhere in the body. And over time, that better connection can undergo long-term potentiation. And this is a process by which our neurons become so specialized that they're actually able to release more neurotransmitters in response to a stimuli. I like to think of athletes here. They spend so much of their life trying to become faster and stronger, and they have these more robust neuronal responses because of this long-term potentiation, because they're developing muscle memory. And now that we've completed this review, we can attack questions which will evaluate our understanding of the dynamics behind neuronal connections. And the correct answer here is pruning. Just like our gardening example, if we want to have a good neuronal response, sometimes we need to remove the weak connections to make room for the more efficient. And just a quick recap of what we really want to remember for test day is that neuroplasticity is a term that refers to the changes in neuronal connectivity in response to stimuli, while synaptic pruning is either the removal of weak connections or the strengthening of robust connections, and then long-term potentiation is a neuronal body's ability to secrete more neurotransmitters in response to a stimuli. Well, congratulations on completing this review of neurobiology. Hopefully you enjoyed learning a little bit more about the dynamics that are occurring in your own mind as you are preparing for the MCAT. Thank you for joining me, and as always, best of luck on your exam.